You are watching the Fayetteville Government Channel. Up next, full coverage of the latest meeting of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. The Parks and Recreation Advisory Board is composed of citizen volunteers and meets on the first Monday of each month. The board advises the City Council and city staff on issues that affect the city's parks and recreational programs. And now, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Okay, now that we have a quorum, we can come to order. Can we do a roll call?
Watson.
Here.
Priest.
Here.
Maxwell.
Here.
Hall. Lamb.
Present.
Caldwell.
Yes.
Lawson. McKnight. Profit.
Okay, so we do have a quorum. Very good. First thing I'd like to bring up is there is a new business on the agenda, and we'll address that at the very end. Wade Caldwell has a proposal from the Gully Park Realtors, but we'll get into that here in just after a while, at the end of it. But first up is awards for the Arkansas Recreation and Parks Association. And Connie, would you like to read a little bit, or?
Yes, I'll start out with reading. We won 3 awards this year. We're very proud of that, and we have our winners here with us. The first one is to Diane Gagner, the Community Garden Leader, and I'm going to read what all she did. I know it's kind of long, but it's just so awesome, all that she's done. Diane Gagner is a valuable citizen and community volunteer who contributed to the City of Fayetteville Parks and Recreation Division's community gardens in the parks as community garden leader. Diane brought many years of valuable gardening experience and had previously participated in other community gardens. In addition to these qualifications, she enjoys working with people, has excellent communication skills, and a strong sense of community. These assets, coupled with her love for the outdoors, make her a natural fit as a community garden leader. Diane helped initiate the Food to Share program, which is an effort to help increase the supply of fresh produce in Fayetteville. Space is dedicated for garden program participants to work together growing and harvesting extra food. This fresh produce is shared with food distribution agency partners who distribute it to local food pantries, soup kitchens, and people in need. Diane donated many hours working with park staff to develop the Gardener's Handbook, which is distributed annually to registered gardeners. She also worked with members of the garden group and Washington County Master Composters to establish a compost area and host a How to Compost workshop. She donated over 350 hours, her own gas and cell phone time working at the garden, delivering fresh food, communicating with gardeners, and organizing garden tasks and events. Because of Diane's dedication, Community Gardens in the Parks is a successful citizen-based community building program that will continue to grow and prosper, benefiting a diverse group of citizens and utilizing parkland for the benefit of all. So we're pleased, Diane, would you come up, and Phyllis will award you the Arkansas, go ahead.
An award for Individual of the Year for the Arkansas Recreation and Parks Association. All right, and next up is the Group Award. Would you like me to give you a break on the reading?
Yes, I would love for you to give me a break on the reading.
Okay, next up is the Fayetteville Chain Gang, and that's the Group of the Year. It's an award given to the, the Fayetteville Chain Gang is a disc golf club that began in 2009 with 10 members. The club consists of 115 dedicated members who have donated over 450 hours of labor to maintain the disc golf course at Lake Fayetteville North Shore and create a disc golf course at Walker Park. The clubs host an annual North Shore Invitational Tournament that attracts players from across northwest Arkansas. The club has partnered with the University of Arkansas Golf Club, which has attracted the university population to our park system. The Fayetteville Chain Gang was established to promote the sport of disc golf and get people active in a low-impact recreational sport. The club is very community-minded, hosting tournaments where the proceeds go to local food banks. They recently held Ice Bowl tournament, raising $2,594 for the Northwest Arkansas Food Bank. The club is also inclusive of players from all skill levels and interests. The Fayetteville Chain Gang has promoted the sport of disc golf and created awareness in the Fayetteville parks. The club has worked tirelessly to remove invasive plants from the disc golf course area and help maintain the fairways, tee pads, and baskets. This work has brought more users to the park to enjoy walking the course and utilizing the facilities. The club has recently started clearing fairways and preparing for a new course to be installed at Walker Park. This new course layout is utilizing an overgrown area of the park that is subject to illegal campsites and other unwanted activity. The club's work is to transform the unsightly area into a functional disc golf course will provide citizens with a much safer and usable park. And the club consists of 115 members who volunteered over 450 hours. Is that right? The club has partnered with the Parks Department to fund new tee pads and have created and installed new signs and markers. The only expense of the program to the city is mowing the fairways. So that's great. And accepting the award is Ray Moore. Up is the Natural Resource Award, Lake Fayetteville, and it goes to the Lake Fayetteville Prairie Restoration Project. So like
this one's even a little bit longer. I think a lot of you all know what all the work has happened at Lake Fayetteville to restore an old prairie area. I'm just going to read a little bit about the very beginnings of it. Around Lake Fayetteville, once encompassed, had an extensive tall grass prairie and oak savanna was first encountered by early travelers and settlers over two centuries ago. The historic Butterfield Trail, a 2,800-mile mail route connecting St. Louis to San Francisco, runs through Lake Fayetteville Park. Waterman Ormsby, a correspondent of the New York Herald, wrote concerning this experience of a trip on the Butterfield Trail in 1958. Even among these hills, you do not lose sight of the prairie nature of the West. Or just after leaving Fayetteville, you can see a fine plain surrounded by hills, in fact, a prairie in the mountains. And this is a partnership that the Fayetteville Parks Department has done with the Fayetteville Natural Heritage Group and then the Environmental Study Center they started in 2009, looking at how great that would be to restore that area. Since then, we've had 3 burns. It encompasses 39 acres out there. You know, it's taken a lot to know when to do the burns. We've had Byron's work with these groups to cut down the cedar trees and the invasive plants, remove those so that we could burn those, and then to plant it back to different natural grasses. And I might let him kind of explain some of the natural grasses a little bit, but I do want to commend Byron Humphrey as our park maintenance superintendent. It's a great project he has taken over. This has been announced in several different Parks and Recreation magazines and all about this great program, and I think we're setting the stars for other people other Parks and Recreation departments to follow into looking at what's been there historically and to try to put it back to restore it to that same nature. Do you want to just say a few words?
Yeah, sure. Of the 39-acre site, there's really only about 5 acres that we had to plant back with the grasses. It was so invaded by invasive species that we basically had to start over. But the other areas with the controlled burns and then a little bit of vegetative management, the native grasses that are in the seed bank established themselves, and so we've got a great stand of big blue stem, little blue stem, Indian grass that just came back, and so it's been a neat project just to see that was there. It was so suppressed by the invasive species. We've liberated it and it's taken off, so it's been a fun project.
And the Environmental Study Center, as well as university groups that utilize this study or this area that he's restored as part of their study. So I think that's pretty cool. And they found out that the quail are coming back.
We have spotted some out there. It's
Some
been a
out
little
there, so
while.
they're pretty excited to see them. They once habitat that area, and now they're back. So habitat.
This is a whole bunch of people, but I'll take it.
Okay, and next, back up on the list is, I guess, approval of the March 10th meeting minutes. Everybody had an opportunity to review those. Is there any corrections that anyone would like to make? No? Okay, I'll motion to approve. I'll second. And second one, you take a roll call?
Watson,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Maxwell,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Profit.
Yes. Okay, moving right along, the next thing we have is the Botanical Gardens report. Is Byron, are you going to
Yeah, I can give that.
take that?
The Botanical Gardens did meet on March 18th for their board meeting. Went over a few items on their agenda. They had a committee that was looking at a catering policy for the gardens on how they manage catering and updates that they might need to make to their facilities to help that function. They went over the approval of the executive director's evaluation, his annual evaluation, and they talked about the upcoming greening of the garden, which is coming up. It's a big, one of their big fundraisers for the year. It's coming up. And then they talked about the priorities of the board for 2014, which include updating the lease with the city, completing the master plan, and enhancing the marketing of the garden, and then preparing for a comprehensive fundraising campaign. And so they discussed the master plan with the board and went over that, and the board approved the master plan. I did want to just kind of give an update on at the last board meeting, you guys had requested that we look into doing a study to determine the boundary of the wetland area. We got bids, we solicited bids for that, and we received 2 bids, and one was $6,500 and one was $4,980. And so we took that information and we looked at the scope of work that would provide versus the information that we already know with all the stakeholders and different opinions, and with the opinion of the Game and Fish who wrote us a letter on the width of buffers. And we decided that based on the cost of that and the time it would take, that we didn't feel like it would really give us new information that we didn't already have with regards to where we thought the boundary should be. And so we put together a staff recommendation and passed it on to administration. And so we're just kind of waiting for administration to communicate that with the gardens, and then we're going to communicate that with the rest of the stakeholders and then with the board. So hopefully we're getting ready to move on that. We haven't heard back the response from Botanical Gardens, but we hope it's a good compromise for all parties involved, and hopefully we can move forward.
And next up is parkland dedication, and I guess we're revisiting this. And,
Yep, this is the cottages at Fayetteville. It was tabled at last meeting for the consultants to go back and kind of give a more clear picture of the green space that they were providing. So they did that, and we do have a representative here, Nathan Street, that's here with the EI engineers, if you have questions for him. They're still proposing 150 multifamily units on 22 acres. Their land dedication requirement would be 2.1 acres, or the money in lieu is $84,000. We do have existing parks in the area, Bryce Davis, Friendship, Fox, Lewis Soccer, and the Village at Shiloh parkland, as well as a couple of trail corridors, hamstring and Shiloh. They're requesting to dedicate money in lieu, and staff is also recommending money in lieu. This is their new site plan. You can see up here, the areas in dark green are green space that is outside of detention areas. I think that was a question that came up at last meeting. So they are providing, looks like 3.14 acres outside of those detention areas. And this is the site plan that they provided this afternoon. So kind of a little more colorful rendering. And then they also provided us some images, I think character images or concept images of the subdivision, if you want me to run through those. Show the housing types.
The images they're actually previously built projects to give you an idea of what they're trying to accomplish with this project.
Folks, while we're waiting here, my name's Steve Giles, and I'm also representing Capstone. I'm on board here. If you have any questions, I can maybe answer something.
What firm are you with?
Stephen R. Giles, PA.
Okay. As a consultant?
Yes. Well, land use attorney.
There we go. Now they're working.
I'll say again, where these are going in, which part of the favor? These types of...
Oh, I'm sorry, I should have gone to that.
What
It's
is it?
off Wellington and 540.
Cattle farm.
So the green spaces that y'all have, the 3.5, because I wasn't here, is this going to be open green space mode, maintained?
It is, yes. It's maintained by the developer. It's used probably for passive recreation. We do have sidewalks that connect every unit to their green space. As you can see, it's kind of clustered. The green space is dispersed throughout the development, so everyone has close access to it. Probably in two or three of the green space areas would have a barbecue pit, gazebo, gathering space.
But no expectation that there are basketball courts in or sand volleyball?
There's probably sand volleyball has been discussed around the clubhouse area. We did not include the clubhouse or the pool within the park space, the open green space, but there has been discussion that that area would include bocce ball, possibly sand volleyball.
So just open to throw a baseball or a football or throw a frisbee, but pretty much just...
And Chuck, basically, when they brought it to us before, the drawing was kind of done in pencil, and it wasn't real clear as far as how much green space there was. And in this particular area, we kind of looked and to see the green space that is available, and there are parks, but there's just not a lot of parks. So the concern that we had was, how much green space is going to be available that they're providing inside their facility, and if that is going to meet the needs for that area. Looking at it, coming back and seeing the acreage that's over 3 acres that they're proposing to maintain themselves, so there's not going to be any maintenance to the Parks Department. The green space is going to be provided, and they're giving up money in lieu. Is basically the way that I'm looking at this. And I apologize for the delay, but we just wanted a little bit more clear printout as to what was coming in.
And the land dedication requirement, if we would have taken land, would have been 2.1 acres.
So it's more green
Whereas now
space.
it's 3.14 than what we would have provided. So we love it when developers make it friendly to their participants. That helps us out. We have about 4,000 acres of parks, so we're pretty busy with that.
And to bring up some other points, in the past meeting, there was some people from the city that voiced concerns, student housing, tracks, and where people can be driving through certain areas. And I thought quite a bit about this over the past month, and you know, the infrastructure that's set up in the city of Fayetteville as far as student housing and where they're going to be driving, you know, this particular piece of property, the access point is Weddington Road, and then is there going to, I guess there's going to be access on that access road that's right next to 540, Futrell Road. So it's connecting directly onto a four-lane road, you know, and there was an argument that, you know, there's too much student housing and you're going to be going through the neighborhoods. And to me, you know, if you kind of stay with that argument that you can't do any more student housing in that area, then does that mean we're not going to do any more student housing all the way out Lake Weddington? Because they're all going to be going down Weddington, and they're all going to be heading probably through those neighborhoods to get to the university. I don't, personally, I don't feel like it's our place to decide, you know, if we like this or we don't like this. It's really more, are they following the law? Are they following the requirements put in by the Parks Board? And, you know, I feel like in this instance that they are even above and beyond that. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on it.
I've got, how many, you're looking at 150 units, how many people do you think would live there?
702 beds.
Okay. So between 4 and 5 people per unit then, I guess.
Yes, I have a rendered site plan here that you can see that highlights the units. The units are color key coded.
Okay.
You know, the thing that the students have, in addition to our city parks, in which they are part of our population, and we want to serve the students, but they also have the intramural recreational sports program, or it's called now the UREC program, that serves them, and they have access to a big hyper building with many opportunities there. So we like to see things like this happening, I know, in our city.
What are the plans as far as Lincolnwood connecting through to Chang? Is there, I know it's drawn, I mean, are there already plans made to do that, or are there other developers considering that?
I can answer that.
Not that I'm aware of.
A Lincolnwood connection is shown on the city's master street plan, but as part of this development, we are not intending to make that connection the same.
Is that, but the, do you know who has the property that Lincolnwood Street would go through the same? Who that property owner is between you guys and
Do not know.
Chang? Yeah, Paul.
Right.
You know
The Hackathorns own that property, and a long time ago, before they ever bought it, it was brought through subdivision, and there are lots on there that are laid out that are out of style for the way anybody would want to build anymore, and so the likelihood is that that will never happen. Lincolnwood is it's my understanding, a dedicated easement to the city, and there is sewer there. There's a sewer line already in place. However, the Hackathorns, when I had their property listed for 2 years, did not care if that went in. It could go another way. It could not go in at all. As far as the Marinonis, the neighbors are upset because what about the traffic someday? What about the traffic, you know, if it ever comes through? And we don't care if it goes through. We would just as soon it not go through, and we would be happy to work with the neighbors to get all of that taken off of the master street plan at some point in the future, because there's a lot of it, including a flyover coming over 540, that we don't want either. So we would be happy to work with neighbors through the proper process and with the city to get that taken off the master street plan. So we have cottage shown there now. We would even be okay with taking that off. But we were told that we have to have a connection at that ditch, and it could be just a T showing that we're providing a space for the future. But we don't even need that street there. We'd just as soon not have that street there. We'd just as soon not make a connection, and we'd be happy to work with the neighbors in the future to get all that taken off.
The property to the south, Is that University of Arkansas?
Along our whole property boundary, that's the University of Arkansas, and it's hillside,
Yeah.
and it is, to my knowledge, they don't have any plans.
And the other property, do you anticipate doing developments like this on the rest of the property?
What we have seen over the years in working with consultant groups on how we could lay out our property is that we needed a population base. Otherwise, it turns into another corner like down at 62, which is just chaos, or out Weddington, which is just turning into chaos. And what we wanted is a population base, and then commercial, like restaurants, you know, where people could, like Pinnacle, only where Pinnacle failed, in my opinion, is that it was supposed to be the workshop, live, play, but there's nobody living there.
Right.
And so it's just drive-to. Or Steel Crossing, which is even worse in my opinion, where it's just restaurant after restaurant after restaurant. Our family and our ownership of this property, we have control over it, and we can say no to people that we don't think are appropriate. And this student housing, the way it is presented in this particular product, is unique. It is the best thing I have ever seen anybody bring forward as far as a real new urbanism type of product that it appears that Fayetteville has been trying to do for many years, 20 years that I know of, and has never really worked. And this is one way, because someone's coming in and doing the whole thing, they have the money to do it, to make it happen, to create it, build it, and they will come, that then Fayetteville and other planners can see it and go, oh, yeah, this is awesome. So we're real excited about it, and we think it'll be a good thing for Fayetteville, and we hope to build out the rest of the property in pieces that are all complementary. So it's part of the population base.
Have y'all considered putting a connection to Berry Street so people can go from the walking trail that you have, or maybe sidewalks that connect to Berry so they don't have to go out onto Weddington and come all the way around? I'm talking about people wanting to walk to class, and I know there'll be bus service. I'm also talking about people wanting to ride to class. I know the campus, you've got to go up a hill, I get that, or go around, saying an apostle. But once you're on campus, I found it convenient to have a bike, because then you can ride and get to class a lot quicker. Now, the other thing too, I know a lot of people will lock their bikes and leave them on campus and take the bus to and from it. Have you thought about a connection that would provide, because these folks need a way, I mean, I think, and that'd be easy to do, to connect to Berry. Have you thought about that? Or I guess maybe it's Porter, with the property.
Would be open to anything. I talked to the neighbors 4 years ago. I went and met with them and told them that we wanted to connect with them because we thought it would be a great place to go jog and go walk to restaurants and everything.
Yeah.
And then 2 years ago, we just got beat over the head. So the clear message we're getting is that they don't want to connect in any way, shape, or form, which I think is a mistake.
I think it's a mistake too.
I think it's a big
This does not have
mistake.
connectivity to the other neighborhoods, and I think it should.
But if they're gonna, every time we try to develop anything, if they're gonna come beat us over the head because they don't want any connection, then what do you do?
Yeah.
You know, this goes back, this is actually a planning commission, build sidewalk connectivity is actually needed. We need to zoom in, I think, on the parks needs.
Okay.
Do they have enough of the service area to serve the people? Are they providing what needs to be provided? So,
I did just have one question. I didn't catch your name, ma'am.
Paula Marinoni.
Paula Marinoni.
And this is my brother, John Marinoni.
Okay. And y'all are the landowners
Yes,
currently.
Yes.
Are y'all still living on that property?
yes.
My sister, another sister, it's a big family.
Okay. Do you two live there as well?
No.
No, I live in Fayetteville on Harold Street.
Okay.
Paula lives on Lafayette.
Okay. But you've got sisters that
Yes.
still a neighbor.
Yeah, there are 5 girls.
Well, I think, you know, that if you guys have it in your mind, like I say, to look, have the forethought to look ahead at, you know, the trails and the walking, things like that, that's really all that we can ask of y'all.
Yeah.
And, but I'd like to, like Connie said, kind of pull this back together.
I'm going to take the money and move. That's my
Accept staff's recommendations. Is there a second?
I second.
Second. All right, let's do a roll call.
Watson?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Hall? Maxwell?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Caldwell?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Crawford?
Yes. Yeah, I can't.
Thank you.
All right, next up is going to be another parkland dedication.
This is
Thank you.
Mission Boulevard Development. It was previously presented several years ago as Ruskin Heights off of Mission. This is a piece of that.
We've seen this before a long time ago.
Yes.
Stop.
The engineer is Ecological Design Group, and we have Ron Driver here with that company if you have questions about the development. Like I said, it's south of Mission, east of Greenview Drive, in the southeast quadrant. They're proposing 59 single-family units and 6 multi-family units on a little over 13 acres. Their land dedication requirement would be 1.44 acres, where the money in lieu is $57,640. And we do have Gully and Craft Parks in the service area. And as you guys might remember, Craft Park was just expanded. We got, I think it was a little over 2 acres on the north side of the creek there. So that is a little bit larger park than we see. Here we go, I can show you where Craft is. This is Craft here, and we just got a piece that connects just on the north side of that.
Do you have like our 2-mile radius that we have? I mean, I'm sure that's Gully Park's within, right?
It's a mile, this is a mile radius.
1 mile.
Developer is requesting to pay money in lieu, and staff is also recommending money in lieu due to the parks that are in that area.
How many people do you think will live here? That's that question again.
I think, well, they have 63 units. There are majority, 57 of those especially reduced when we initially had the conceptual plan in. It's 57 residential units, and then 6 townhomes. So those are all single family, the 57. So I would think go for a single family home. And then the townhomes, I believe, are really to be single family as well. They're just more connected, the houses next to each other. Developer is also more, more new urbanism type development, so it would be kind of well done, in my opinion.
How long size on all that?
Well, the zoning is neighborhood conservation, and we're providing more than the minimum for that, which are 4,000 square feet. Most of the lots are a little bit bigger than the 4,000 required for that. As you guys are all well aware, we've got significant existing conditions that we're working with. The previous developer had built a number of the roads, was never dedicated to them.
For a reference point, this area here is the existing detention area that you see along Mission Lane.
The amphitheater.
Yeah. That was a putting green for a while.
Are they still going to try to do some commercial development on 45 as part of this? I know that was the initial plan.
There's, I think the developer is leaving options open for what to do with the property. This current phase is residential. But as I mentioned, he's into the kind of new urbanism type thing, so.
I know the early plans were to look at some cafes, coffee shops, things like that, which would be great.
Yeah.
And this doesn't utilize the total space, the total property that's there. There's significant property further to the south, is that correct, up the hill?
That's correct. So in this design, we're connecting through the Green View and, utilizing more of the existing conditions of the streets that are already built.
Now, I thought this was already national. This project has already been through this whole process before, yes or no?
It was several years ago.
There's been a lot of dirt work and stuff.
Yeah. Streets
But
were
they
built.
never came in front of Parks for a determination?
It did. It came through, we're always the first stop through planning, and a lot of times projects will change or may potentially never even be built after they come through Parks. So this is a brand new submittal, a brand new project, even though it's on the same land that we already saw.
Okay. And the last time it came through, we were gonna take.
It was all different.
The last time it came through, it was a totally different project. We were gonna take a very small piece of land, like.
Remember the
less
tower?
than 10 acres. It was
Tower?
a different
Yeah,
project.
a viewing tower.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Solar?
So is this area here, I mean, I see you have a retaining area, water retaining area. Is there going to be like a certain degree of green space there?
Yes.
You know, the volume or area, I mean?
That's what the developer sees that as, making a potential, it could be an eyesore from a detention pond into an amenity, and going to create some maybe educational component to it, a place to kind of walk around, boardwalk, be part of nature, and going to plant it with more wetland type plantings. He plans to maintain it as an amenity for the site, and also serve as a stormwater detention.
So you don't know the size, the area of that?
Yeah, we do.
Is there
Off the top of my head, does that number come through? We've got
I think it was a little over an acre.
just about an acre of property. We've also got some shared use green space throughout the property. One will be kind of like a walking path up a hill, and as well as just some pocket park places within the community.
There was this lot was a green space lot as well. I'm not sure if that's attention to.
It's, yes, but we are also going to do some tree preservation in that area as well. So there'll be some bit of green space.
Also, another recreational opportunity, of course, is the Root School playground area. We don't count it as parks, but it does provide recreational opportunities with the playgrounds and basketball courts there for those youth.
Yeah, you got McNair as well, just
And McNair,
across.
yeah.
Too bad we can't move it across the street to pick up some money for Golden Star.
Is that the dividing line, 45?
I'd move that we take money and move land unless anybody else has anything else.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Take roll, please.
Profit,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Maxwell,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next up, we have just some meeting policies. Do we need to go over that for public record?
Number 8, regional park.
Oh, I'm sorry. Skip that one. Regional Park. Rough day.
This is a graphic of the latest master plan rendering from Lewis Associates, and some things are still kind of being altered a little bit, but where we are now is we are going to take through a contract amendment for Lewis Associates to council to hire them to produce the construction documents for Phase 1 of the park. And Phase 1 of the park is going to include the great lawn and soccer fields and 3 baseball fields, maybe 4, depending on how the numbers come in, and then all of the associated parking.
These are the Little League baseball fields, right?
Yep. So that's where we are. They're still on track to be able to produce those and have it out to bid by the end of the year. So we're still hopeful that we'll be able to start construction by the end of this year.
So phase one, what's the current phase one, what are we gonna have as far as fields?
8 soccer fields. 6 of those will be graded, completely finished. 2 of them we're hoping to do artificial turf, so we'll go ahead and grade them out now, but depending on the numbers, we may not be able to put the artificial turf in, and we just seed it and have it play a little bit. And then, Great Lawn and 3 baseball fields. In that first pod, we have 2 fields that are larger, we have 2 at 300 feet, and the other 2 are at 250.
Okay.
Now this, I'm coming late because I know we've known this for a while. Is this the first phase of this? There'll be other phases? Okay.
There's 3 phases.
That's the $8 million. Right now, we have $4.5 million, then plus the $3.5 million, that's the bond from the A&P
Okay.
funding.
How quickly does that come replacing, say, the soccer field with this field?
This will replace the field that
Will it give us more soccer space? Great. Okay. I know that's limiting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That expires in the end of June of 2018.
Oh, okay, not till 18, okay.
Yeah, we'll have time to grow some grass and get in there.
A nice new transition.
From a financial perspective, how hard would it be to get a 4th baseball field in phase one?
We might be able to.
We might be able to.
We're working on the final numbers. It all depends, of course, Allison can speak to it, on some of the rock they'll be finding.
Yeah, some of these fields are going to be, up against 30-foot rock walls, basically. We're having to cut significant amounts to get them in.
We hope all of them,
Big green
and if not, that'll be our fundraiser. We'd like to move ideally, we need to move all of Walker Park at one time to move all of those fields. So we'll be doing some campaigning once we get the final numbers.
Okay.
We hate to get numbers out there that,
Is there any
Not
plans for
correct.
Walker Park after everything moves? I mean,
there will be some fields that we will leave there for practice fields. We just put in a new concession stand, and by the way, next Monday at 5 o'clock, the mayor, we will be doing a ribbon cutting for the renovated concession stand, and it'll be the first night of baseball. It's that time.
I was just curious if there's going to be, I know practice fields and things like that, but...
Yeah, we'll leave some of those fields. Which ones exactly, we're still trying to determine that. See what our numbers end up being.
Is there any thought of, tearing down the fences and making it something else?
Yeah. Kind of reverting some of it back for green space.
Green space.
There's been talk of dog parks, there's been many different talks going on, so.
Yes, sir.
One suggestion, though, is there aren't any adult fields. For years, we had pickup games at Walker, and before that, we had them at Wilson. So, big guys would knock the ball out, but we'd always have a mixed crowd. Little kids could play, so it was great, but the fact was that there was always conflict, so maybe this will make it possible that Walker at least could have one adult-sized field for things like that. That would certainly be a great addition, and we're still going to have a lot of people walking in Walker Park, so.
Yeah. Well, that's why we'll keep some of those fields open for that, maybe kickball. I don't know if our kickball program will move or not, or just stay at Walker. That's yet to be determined at this point in time.
One other thing, if I may ask, while you were talking about this, what's the status of Judge Cummings' house? Is it on the park property?
No,
or-
the bank owns it.
We don't own it? The
Correct.
bank still owns it?
Mhm.
Okay, well, I'm glad to see it preserved, and I hope it's preserved, it doesn't become apartments. Very nice old house.
I have a question about the rest of the mountain. Part of the acceptance of the grant, or whatever funding came from third party, required a access to be put in with a certain amount of time. Is Parks involved in that?
Yes.
Okay. Where do we stand on that?
We are putting together a pros and cons list of a couple different sites.
So site selection.
Yeah, we're still in site selection. Yeah, there are some challenges with putting it on the park site because of the landfill remediation. That's going to start up probably, well, they're moving equipment in tomorrow, actually. So there's going to be nonstop truck traffic along Judge Combs Road. So we don't want to put the public along that road to access the trail. So we're just trying to, or at least limit that as much as we can. So we're just trying to see where the best location is that would require the least amount of, new trail or new easement or whatever we might need to get there.
How long do they expect that to take?
The landfill? The first phase of it, which will be the northern half, they're hoping to complete by July.
So it's going to happen pretty rapidly.
Yeah, weather dependent. I mean, their hope is to finish the first phase in July and then immediately start the second phase and be done by the end of the year potentially. But it just depends on how the weather holds. I mean, they're hauling loaded trucks on an old county road, so if it's real wet, it's probably not going to work very well.
Yeah, that road, that's long. Right now,
Does the all gravel in it, so we'll just keep the road up.
But this access and the nature of that scenario, does the access, does it have to be a permanent access?
No.
Does it have to be on park property?
No, it just has to be a public access.
Do you have some ideas, Sharon?
Okay.
So we're looking. That has to be completed by end of June, has to be built.
Has to be open to the public by the end of June.
And that's when we're talking about probably having a ribbon cutting, something for outfit around that day. We'll get it done.
Okay.
Kevin, Steve again. The parking's going to be off of the road that goes up towards the landfill then? No, you're talking about the requirements for the parking for the, I thought that's going to be, or is that going to be down by the smokehouse?
We don't know yet. That's what we're talking about. We're still trying to weigh the options of where the better access point is.
Now, what about completely around on the other side, coming in almost from Farmington? It backs up, there's a road right there. Y'all looked at that?
Yep.
Looked at all of it.
My guess is when it's all said and done, it'll be going in all three spots. To access that area, because the folks in Farmington will want to get in the backside too.
Just makes it challenging with the landfill, which we're excited getting the landfill done as soon as possible.
Is that reason is that reason alone not to go ahead and put something in the park where?
One of the places that we're looking is, I don't know if I can see that, but where we have a future parking lot plan. It would be a limited stretch of road where there would be construction traffic and public.
Where the sign is now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much where the sign is
In the
now.
previous spot.
That requires us building a little more trail to get up there. And having to shift it once we start construction, because that whole side's going to be graded. But that's one of the options.
Yeah, I'd like to commend Allison Jumper for her hard work on this. She's been very instrumental in keeping it going, and we're going to be breaking ground before we know it. So, something I think everybody's looked forward to for a long time.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Next up, and I guess I made a flaw, which I'd like to go ahead and correct right now, as far as the new business that Wade kind of handed to us to put on at the end of the meeting. I did make an announcement, but apparently we need to vote on whether we accept that as new business or not. So let's go ahead and vote now. If you take the roll call, so it's known. And it's basically regarding the Gully Park real estate offer
Yeah, the
option.
There's been an offer made to the city, but
I'll make a motion that we put it on the agenda.
Second.
Watson,
Yes.
Priest,
Yes.
Maxwell, Lamb,
Yes.
Caldwell,
yes.
Profit.
Yep.
And so that passes. And for transparency purposes, I will now go over the rules that I just messed up. And these are Parks and Rec meeting policies. If there's not a quorum present at the start of the Parks and Rec Advisory Board regular or special meeting, the meeting will be adjourned and no business will be discussed. PRAB's quorum size is 5 members. This is why our Parks Secretary sends emails and calls members about attending, because we do not want PRAB members who can attend, plus others who are in the agenda or the public, to come to a meeting that will be immediately adjourned. If an item is to be added to the agenda at the meeting, a request must be made at the beginning of the meeting to add the item to the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. Members must vote to approve whether to allow the item to be added at the beginning of the meeting, which again was my fault. This gives transparency to our citizens who may be interested in the added item and allow them the opportunity to attend and participate in our meetings. And that's that. Announcements. April 12th is the Clear Creek Trail opening at 1 p.m. April 14th, youth softball begins. April 19th, youth spring soccer ends. April 19th, Yvonne Richardson Easter egg hunt. April 21st is adult softball summer registration begins, and April 24th, Yvonne Richardson community meeting is on that time. And the other one is attachments. So now we move on to new business, and the last thing on our list. And Wade, I'll give you the.
Connie, I apologize, I've not spoken about this I know I've been trying to play contact. The Dunn family has given a proposal to the city of, an offer or a proposal to the city of Taylor for their property. They want to sell it.
Yeah, can you just give a little bit of background?
Sure, I'm sorry. We have an opportunity, the opportunities arise to add to Gully Park. The folks, the Dunns that own the land east and north of Gully Park are looking at, are going to sell their land. There are 2 houses on O'Hara Road that go with this. There's a shop building that goes with this, and then there's about 9.7 acres of land that go with this. The land extends to the south to the center of the creek, and then it extends to the east, to Magnolia Lane. There is water, there are sewer lines on the property. The total amount of land is just under 11 acres. The open land, if you keep the 2 houses separate, they look at the main house on O'Hara Road, about 3/4 of an acre, and then a 30 by 40 shop with that. And then the second house on O'Hara Road, that's about half-acre lot. The total asking price, and they're wanting to sell it all at once, the total asking price is $1.3 million. I've spoken with David Mix about this. He's the realtor, and I questioned the value or the pricing on this, and he pointed out this price similar. This comes out to about $70,000 an acre on the open land. Now, and he was looking at the land where the street runs into O'Hara Road. They're developing that, and that was, I think, comparable to what was paid for that property. That's what he told me. I think there's been another 8-acre piece sold in the area that is quite a bit less than this. anyway, I've given this proposal, and I'm relatively just passing around it, to a couple of individuals in town, with the idea of maybe generating interest among 4 or 5 larger individuals to come together and maybe purchase the property, and then with the agreement that maybe the city's able with, maybe over a period of time, purchase this property from the individuals. But that's kind of where I am. I'm open to ideas. I mention this to somebody different every day. Yes, it's a lot of money. No, we probably don't need the homes on our road. I mean, ideally, if those weren't there, that'd be probably a nice spot to put additional parking for Gully Park. But anyway, that's where I am, and I don't know if anybody else has any other ideas. Connie, I don't know if you staff has looked at any other alternatives, or I know the timing on this with the Mount Kessler property is not good. I don't know.
It's something we have discussed for years and years when Sunny Dunn was living, and that land is available. Gully Park is home for our Gully Park concerts, plus many events. Many people utilize it morning, noon, and night. It is one of our favorite loved community parks within our city. So we believe, in looking towards the future, the more land that we can preserve at times like this when it is available, because once it's gone, it'll be developed. It is an opportunity to look at. I think that a sewer main lies on this property that probably increases the value of this property, which really Parks doesn't need at this point in time.
So what are our financial options here? You mentioned a group that would eventually sell it back.
That was an idea I had. I guess the idea that I've not pursued this further, maybe a bond issue, interest rates are low. I mean, that'd be a small, if you're talking, you might do an issue like this and make it $2 million, where then you've got money for a couple of billions or, something like that, maybe money could help go toward, if you did a bond issue, this could go to help for maybe put a swimming pool in South Pass or something. I mean, I'm just throwing ideas out there. I wouldn't think of, how would the community respond to a bond issue right now? I don't want something like this to acquire that.
So does bond issue go to a vote?
You probably have to have a special election for that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. You got to the city, they did special.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking a lot of work, and normally people don't do that work for a smaller amount of money.
Well,
for $3 million.
Can we get that done in a timeline? You're wanting to get this
I have no
sold?
idea.
That's kind of the more logistics issue than anything. Connie, are there any other financial ways we can, general fund, is there something that are there ways that we could?
They dipped into the reserves for Mount Kessler. They dipped into the reserves for just here lately also for raises for city employees. I don't know.
But that's the general fund, correct? What's the,
That's the sales tax general fund. Yes.
So what's the balance of the general fund? Does anybody know what the balance of the general fund is right now?
In reserves, I think you're talking about what's in reserves.
Right.
I don't know the
Well, I think 12, I thought it was around 12 before the Kessler.
For Kessler and the other. Couple of million already taken out, so.
But they maintain 2 or 3 years of operations in that. And I don't know what that total is, so. I would say they're not much above that at this point.
Two things I have not done. I've put together a letter. I've written numerous letters to the editor and never mailed them. I use them more as a way to process my thoughts. But I put together a letter to the editor. That was one idea, is to try to generate more interest from the public. I feel like if there's interest there, that I feel like the powers that be with the city can probably work things out if they want it. If you start bringing the public in, then you can obviously, people say, oh, this is a lot of money, the money should be spent on other things. You can work against you sometimes. The other thing we have, we just did the Gully Park cow patty run, finished up, and there's over 1,000 people over the past few years. We have a current email list, and obviously you can go to those people. And are you going to raise enough money to do this? It'd be piecemeal, then you're in the fundraising business, and it's I feel like it's viable, taxpayer money that would be well spent and well used. And as we all know, the density just continues to increase. You can see what the thing we just approved on Mission. And, but anyway, that's kind of where I am. I don't want to lose. We're not making progress, but it'll be interesting too. It may be that they get offers for less than this. Have you talked further with Lionel or Don or any other comments? Any other conversations?
I think they're kind of looking, we've already dipped into the reserve.
Yeah.
I think that they, felt like, look, it's just a mishap that both of these things happen to occur at the same time period. I mean, they're worthy, and we're very fortunate not to have for those.
I wonder how the public, I guess the next question is how much support for this will we be able to garner from the public? And because if that support were to come out, it might help, change the way people are thinking about this.
I think you'd have everybody's support that goes to Gully Park now, which is, I'd say, half the population of Fayetteville. Or greater. I mean,
Put toll gate.
You have my support, but I don't have $1.3 million.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would say we need to give this to Connie. And
I think she already has one.
I have one. I do.
weave your magic counter.
That was my copy that was given to me.
What would
and no, I'm not getting a commission on that.
Say there's a benefactor out there that, has $1.3 million and they feel strongly about this and they tell Wade that, hey, I'll pay for it, if the city wants it. I mean, what is that whole process?
Well,
what would you do?
The process is, I would hope to take the park board, see if you guys would want to accept it and then take it on to council, because I think time is of essence.
City council would have to approve that?
Yes, yes.
It's almost like a promissory note that they would agree to purchase it in the future.
Well, and the city has to say, hey, do we want this into a park system? And how much more money will this cost us annually for upkeep and all? So they have to look at it as a whole. But I think there's no doubt it would definitely be a positive attribute for the city to have, especially down the road. And even now.
Timing's bad for the Mount Kester thing, obviously, but I mean, the timing is exceptionally good, the fact that the interest rates are so low right now. So if we can get that, and I know if we get that, if that had to go to a special election, that's something that we're going to make, if there was time to make a stretch, right now is the time to do that.
And it would not be hard to, normally things like this pass, small, special, interesting, one that pass. I don't know the city's credit rating, but you look at our revenues that come in, our tax base keeps increasing, we've got enough reserve, I don't think it'd be an issue. I don't think the bonds would be that high in interest because I think their credit's good.
So how do we proceed from here, Connie? What's the next steps?
Feel like an owl. Who should we talk to?
I think it should be talking to everybody and anybody,
Okay.
trying to get the public support, and then if, you all would want to take it, I think visit with the aldermen, see, what they do.
Do you know Frank Sharp?
I do.
He'd probably point you in the right direction.
I'll talk to Frank. All right, I've got a few tricks up my sleeve. I'll keep working.
Thank you, Wade.
Thank you.
And that's everything. I would accept a motion to adjourn. Oh, I'm sorry.
Alderman Shepherd, would you announce, please, that World Peace Wetland Prairie Earth Day is on Easter, Sunday the 20th, from 1 to 5 p.m., and we'll have great music and all the good things we've had in the past. Hope to see you there.
Easter Sunday, 1 to 5 p.m., and where is this?
World Peace Wetland Prairie on South Duncan Avenue, and it's
Next door to your house.
next door to my house. And we have Still on the Hill, and Emily Cakes, and some of you guys may have jammed there before on Earth Day. So come on out and join us, please.
Thank you, Albert.
Chairman, I just might reiterate the Clear Creek Trail opening is this Saturday, 1 o'clock.
Where exactly? Where
It's
the bridge
going
is?
to, yeah, if you come a little bit early and park at the Penny parking lot, there'll be a bunch starting to walk over. It's gonna be
Which parking lot?
the Penny's parking lot.
Penny's, okay.
It'll be over on the ridge between Johnson and Fayetteville, over that bridge. It'll be great.
Great.
Bring your bikes, there'll be several bike rides and a lot of fun.
Neat trail. You know, Matt can run for mayor right now, probably. He gets all the credit.
That's fine. As long as Fayetteville gets it, we're happy.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Aye.